Welcome
Welcome to
to
yet
another
another edition
edition
of
of But That's
But
Not
That's Not
Important Right
Important right
Now.
now.
Right
Hey, look
now.
at that. We did it. What?
Okay,
What?
we'll keep that. We'll keep that.
We'll keep
Um,
that. What are you worried about?
as I was saying to those of us, we record this on a Wednesday
Yes, we
evening,
do. Estrellas
but
de Lucha Libre.
but for for this Monday, you are probably
Yeah.
listening to this on a Monday. So happy
Yeah.
Monday.
Happy
Um,
Monday.
it would have been, what date is Monday? I don't know what date is Monday. What's in the future? Hello, future.
Well, then that would be the 22nd. That, that's the
22nd.
22nd, Monday, the 22nd of November.
I hope people had a good weekend. I hope I had a good weekend.
I hope I
let's
had a
hope
good
nothing,
weekend too.
let's, let's hope nothing happened between now and Monday because it would be
Yeah,
kind of weird.
because
This is always a problem about pre-recording. The reason we pre-record so far in the past or to the future is I need time to do editing and so on. It's just me. It's just me
Yeah, you need
doing
to do editing and all that
it. Yeah.
razzmatazz.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm still
Yeah.
in Facebook jail, hence why we're kind of doing a little live session on Twitter at the same time, just to see if we could do it. We are doing it through a thing called um, Restreamer. I think it's Restream.
Oh,
So,
we're doing some streaming. Really?
well, this is how you get it on Twitter. You have to actually go
So,
through a
so
third
this is
party.
so this is like so this is like live streaming.
Yeah.
Well,
It
thank
is.
goodness. I mean, because
Yeah.
for a minute there, I thought, okay, good, because I wouldn't want to go through anything like kidney stones or anything like that, because that could prevent any sort of streaming from taking place. You know what I mean? So we're at that age where we've got to be careful about
I'm
just
doing
about
the
any.
Kirk.
What?
Kirk.
What is wrong? What?
I'm doing the Kirk shocked
What?
face.
That's not the You're not doing it the right way, Ian.
No, because I don't have the arm. The hand flips over like this. The
Kirk is like
animation
Kirk is like
sucks.
like that,
Yeah, no, but it
and
looks like the back of his hand.
it's
So
like that, and then Picard is like, oh God,
yeah, we did a face palm for that. All right.
baseball. It's like that. See? Yeah.
We had such a great session last week, which is this week, which came out on
We did
Monday.
with very special guest star Anthony Scully.
We got a
Yeah.
great lot of feedback, which you also mentioned in our last, which our little test, we kind of talked about it. We kind of talked about so what I want to
This
do
is
is
true.
kind of repeat what we talked about on Monday. Maybe we could kind of talk about a little
Yeah,
bit
I think
more.
we can rehash what was said, considering the fact that when we conducted the experiment for the first time, we had like virtually
No, no audio,
no
no
audio
audio.
whatsoever. So yeah,
Still have no viewers.
and
It's
still
hard.
no
You see,
viewers.
Twitter is not like Facebook where I could have a little dashboard to see what's going on. Twitter wants you to pay for that. So
Yeah, but we can tell. Yeah.
no
Well,
viewers.
let's tell Jack. Let's tell Jack from Twitter what we really think about him. And I don't think he's going to put us in Twitter jail. Then again, or Twitmo, as they call it,
Yeah,
or
Twitter is the
Twitmo.
complete and total opposite of Facebook, where you can say whatever the hell you want on Twitter. Well, no, that's not true. Twitter has been known to,
That's not entirely true. No.
yeah, Twitter has been known to ban people and remove their accounts and so on. But
Yeah.
it is not as draconian as Facebook is now.
No, it's not.
No?
No.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, so we talked about well, just those of you who are new to us joining us, we are two guys who used to work in advertising
We used to work in advertising a long time ago
a long
when
time ago.
dinosaurs ruled the earth.
Yeah, when people were doing pay stuff. Interestingly enough, I had a meeting with the artist Andrew Fitt. I don't know if you
Oh,
know Andrew
really?
Fitt.
He does some pretty good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, his work is really good. Go and
His
follow
work is excellent.
Andrew J. Fitt on Instagram. And we were chatting about stuff, and and he said one of his dreams was to work in McCann Erickson. I'm gonna say that because that's the agency he wanted to work for. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, you do know that it's almost like, you know, when you dream the dream and you really want something really badly and then you get it and then you go, yeah. You know,
It's like,
it's like this. Uh,
or it's like in the Wizard of Oz when you think the wizard is really knowledgeable in everything, and when you get it,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
pay
yeah,
no
yeah,
attention to the man behind
yeah.
the curtain.
That's true.
And you're like, oh my God, what a major disappointment. Oh my goodness. I thought you were going to be like a Jedi Knight. And in reality, you're
I
just
I
so not.
remember
Oh,
I
so
remember as a child seeing Wizard of Oz performed by my cousin in St. Joseph Convent, San
yeah.
Fernando, I think it was. They had a big auditorium, and they
Really?
did this
Wow. That
really
must have been
big.
cool.
They did this really big production of Wizard of Oz. And as a little kid, I was blown away by it. I thought it was fun. I mean, it was all girls pretending to be boys and whatever. It was fun. But
Yeah.
I was gonna say that you know, working in advertising, people always come up to me and say, "Oh, I always wanted to work in advertising." I look at them like, "Why? Why would you do that?" But
Yeah.
when I was
Why would you
young,
put yourself through that kind of
but
torture?
when I was young and I used to watch ads on TV, I'm like, I want to do this, you know, and which is what
As did
Andrew
I.
said. Andrew said, you know, we come up with these fun, crazy things, and I'm like, yeah, yeah. But actually, the fun is, as we have stated before on the podcast many times, the fun is the fun of coming up with this stuff. You know, that's the fun.
That's it. That's the fun
Yeah.
part. Yeah.
It could be you could think of something really crazy and go, the client will never go for this, but it's hilarious for us. So you know, we you know, so um just one of the other things we want to do is we want to do our final episode will be a Facebook Live episode. We're going to do that on the 1st of December. I'm going to invite a bunch of people. Um, I don't know how it's going to work. It's probably going to be a huge mess, but we'll try. I will be just out of Facebook jail, fresh out of Compton. So,
Straight out of
um,
Facebook jail, baby.
straight out of
Mm.
Facebook jail. So
Raise your thermos
I
for
want
that
to,
one.
it will be our
Hey.
final episode before we break for Christmas, and see how things go. I want to be able to do a, a, what you call it, um, what we call a Christmas party, because Christmas time for an agency is usually a very crazy, insane period, but it gets triply so because the agency decides we're going to hold a Christmas party. So you have to do your work on one side and organize Christmas party on the other side. So I'm going to be bringing a bunch of people, at least one of them who has been on a Christmas committee and has worked. You know, you've never been on a Christmas committee
Thank
for the
God.
ages. Yeah, no, you thank God. It is a hell of a lot of work and it's a hell of a lot of stress. But
Yeah.
with the right people and the right team, it really comes off, you know, really good. And I have a bunch of stories. We have tons of stories for that. One of the other things we wanted to do this year, before we break for the year, is to talk about awards. So I don't know if we could do that next week and maybe bring back in Damien and maybe talk
Mhm.
about, you know, awards. I want to see if I can bring back in Kevin Gibbs because he wants to talk about it as well. So we'll see if we can organize that for next week. So stay tuned for next week. We have two more shows to go, I think. Am I wrong or am I
Two more
right? Yes,
shows. We
today's
have
the
two more shows.
17th.
So this is 17th.
Right, the
Next week is
24th.
the 20. Next week is the 24th, and then the 1st
Right.
of December. Yeah. So
Yes.
December is 2 weeks away.
What is that?
I don't know. I was
Crazy.
just doing something I was trying to activate my inner theremin. You know, is it
Yeah,
schizoparanoia?
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, Thurman. The other thing that I'm doing, just to
Yeah.
announce, um, I am doing um, NFTs. I don't know if you know what an NFT is.
I have no idea what that is.
An NFT is a non-fungible token, so it's cryptocurrency. I'm selling cryptocurrency.
Well, look at you
Would you like to buy my
getting
Bitcoin?
getting with
I
the
have Bitcoin.
times,
No, I'm not. I'm not.
buying
I'm not.
Bitcoin.
I'm not one of
Oh
those
my word.
idiots who speculate Bitcoin in Starbucks. I'm not. I'm not one of those guys. Um,
Okay.
what I what I'm doing is I'm launching art gallery on
Right.
a thing called OpenSea, OpenSea.io, redesigns, and I'm going to be selling artwork that I've come up with, and it's going to be. I'm trying it out. Um, I don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm going to try to see if I can make some money off of it. If you go look up NFTs, you can see the crazy shit that's going on. I'm not. I'm not. I don't know if this is going to be a giant bubble that will burst by the end of the month or next year or whatever. But what the hell? It's actually fun for me to kind of get involved. I am trying it out as an experiment, and we'll see how it goes. The way it works is this: you create a piece of artwork, and somebody buys it, and they own it, and it's a digital. It's a digital. What you call it? Code. There's a code applied to the artwork, so the person buys the code related to the artwork. So it's literally like you owning a piece of art, like you put up on your wall or whatever, but in the digital realm. So you pay that level of money for the artwork. Don't know. See what happens. We'll try it. I don't know. The other thing is, I have jumped onto Upwork because I need to see if I can find some work outside of this bloody country, and that has been not going anywhere. So we'll see if that changes in the new year. Let's talk about what's happening in the advertising realm before we get sidetracked. What is happening in the advertising realm, Jared? Tell me. Tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's going on? What's going on in the world of advertising so far? What I can tell you is that you find that, and again, this is me talking from my perspective as a voice actor. I find that there are, of late, they've been using one particular voice. I won't say who that person's voice is, but you get the feeling that the client, I don't know if it is that the client wants that voice, or if it's the agency that insists that this is the voice that they want and they can't find any other voices, just to make
Mm.
things sound kind of varied. But if you really listen to some of the ads that are being produced, you are hearing one particular voice.
Oh God.
And not
Well,
that
I have an ad I wanna bitch about. But go on. Go on.
not that I not now, mind you, not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, if it was,
Mm.
I would say this much: if that had been me, I wouldn't be complaining. I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm getting paid for it, you know.
Mhm, mhm.
But by the same token, I couldn't help but feel a little bit queasy about the whole thing, because there will come a time, there will come a time when somebody would say, we really don't want to hear that voice again,
Mm.
and then they just drop you cold. I mean, I can give you instances where that has happened before. I can remember a time when, back in the 1970s and 1980s, for example, Jim Sutherland, God rest his soul, had a fantastic speaking voice, and they used him for every commercial known to man. Whether you were
Mm.
talking about, from tonics to soft drinks or anything like that, he was the man. He was the go-to guy, and his voice was ubiquitous. Um, but as time went on, particularly at the turn of the century, they just looked at him and they just said, "You know what? We really don't have, um, you really don't have need for your voice anymore." And I think
Yeah.
that too stems from, I don't know. I guess it's because clients might want a fresh new voice. The younger, the better. And he was a
Yeah.
bit long in the tooth, and I think that too had kind of had an effect on him. But what I'm saying is that if you are asked to do, some ads, several ads,
and you're beginning to hear a preponderance of your voice, and if that's the voice that they hear more often than not, there will come a time. And I think I'm just saying that if everybody got an equal shot, that would not happen. I mean, you wouldn't run the risk of saying, well, hey, I'm doing this ad for whoever. I'm doing this ad for this client. I'm doing the ad for that client, client B, client C, client D, client E, and so on.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like I said, getting paid for it is one thing, but about the long term. But I'm thinking more about the long term goal.
Yeah.
But that's something that's just one of my pet peeves, really. It's just one of my pet peeves. But
I remember, just as an aside, I was watching this series. You remember the series I posted last month about that Jim Carrey was in?
The Duck Factory. I saw
the Duck Factory. It was beautiful. It's a brilliant series, right? The problem is Jim Carrey. The problem is Jim Carrey. You could see he wanted to break away. He wanted to be himself. He couldn't, right? But it's a great story because it was an insight for me on an animation studio. And it's very funny because the characters involved and whatever. But he told the voice actor of the duck that this is his the guy's an old guy. He said, "You're my hero. You and the animator guy, the two of you, and your voice is known to." And the guy said, "Yeah, it's known, but only known for this. Nobody else hires me for anything else because he's reached that point in his life where not only is he typecast, which is what we're talking about, not only is it typecast, you reach an age where there are a lot of other talents out there that people are drawn to. Now, I was thinking about the guy on Radio 97, his voice, because somebody had it on Radio 97 the other day, and I'm like, this is Radio 97 for me. This is Radio 97. If he leaves Radio 97, which will happen eventually, he would have to retire. I mean, he must be at the age of retirement by now, or getting there.
It has to be. Yeah.
It's just like Kermit the Frog. You need a voice that sounds exactly like that, or else it breaks the magic. You see, because you're so used to this, kind of thing. So anyway, I mean, talking about radio ads, I think we should have a section. But generally, all our ramblings are basically bitching about ads and bitching about ad agency.
That's what we do. We bitch about ads a lot. Yeah.
Right. But the ad that I want to bitch about is a radio ad, and I heard it this morning in the I only hear it in the supermarket. I don't hear it on 103. Thank God, I haven't heard it on 103. I don't know if you're running it.
Well, maybe we do, but we don't. I really couldn't tell you offhand.
But
let's hear.
You don't hear the ads when they're running. You don't know what the ads are running when.
Well, actually, I do. I do know.
Oh, okay.
I do know. Yeah.
You just kind of mute it. I hope you'll be able to mute it. Anyway, point is.
But yes.
I go and I listen. I go and I'm going to the supermarket. I'm already stressed because I have to deal with wearing a mask. I have to deal with all the nonsense of the people, clogging up the aisles. What irritates me most is people going in the wrong direction in the aisles. Because I'm like, this is why we have a problem. Because you all don't even want to follow the simple instruction of following the arrows because they want everybody to go in one direction. And then I have to listen. And I know the agency who did it, and I know who the people who did it. The ad is for powdered milk, and it's two women screaming at each other. I don't know if you heard it.
Ah, yes. I know the ad. I know the ad of which you speak. It is like
I
the
want
oral
to take
equivalent.
a piece of metal and stab it in my ears. Because it is like so
annoying.
It's not annoying. There's an idea there that is badly executed. Because the women are very so the product is supposed to be very down market, right?
Right.
It's supposed to be it's a cheaper alternative to some of the other brands. Fair enough. Cool.
Got it. Yeah.
But you have two women getting on Wajan in the library, in this bank, whatever, and they're screaming at each other. And they're screaming price taste, which is basically the two things about the brand that you want people to hear about. I
Right.
want to take that brand and throw it off a cliff because it's so annoying,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
so annoying. I mean, the first time you hear it, okay, all right, cool. The third time you hear it, you want to kill yourself.
So is the problem the ad itself or the frequency with which the ad is aired?
No, it's the frequency because I hear it a lot, but
Because yeah,
it's the
it's like
voice. We're talking about the
it's the
voice.
so
It's the
it's like the equivalent.
voices.
Mhm. So it's like the equivalent of Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas Is You." Is that's what you're saying?
All right, so
I mean, you
for our listeners who don't know, Jared Jared has a crusade to wipe that song from the memories of everybody
I
forever.
that's
If
not going to
Jared
happen.
could go in a time machine and assassinate Mariah Carey,
No,
he
no,
would do
no, no, no,
it.
no, no. I don't want to assassinate. I don't want to kill anybody. Hold
Okay.
on. No, that's my God. I may be I may be crazy, but I ain't that crazy. No, all I was thinking of
Well, you're gonna
is just
convince him not
it's
to do
just
the song.
convince her not to do the song. Give it to
Yeah.
somebody else to do it. You know, give it to a rock band or somebody, just not her. Yeah,
But she
that's
wrote
all
it,
I'm
didn't
saying.
she? She
I
wrote
I
it.
I, I
She
think
wrote
so.
it,
Not too
or
sure.
one of her
I,
songwriters wrote it.
no, you know who I blame? You know who I blame for this? Not necessarily Mariah Carey, yeah? Her then husband Tommy Mottola, because
Ah, yeah.
Tommy
Uh-huh.
Mottola, may he rot in hell. He said, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Tommy Mottola said that
I'm doing the cake.
yeah, he was so married, he was married to her at the time, and he was like, look, I want her to see to it. He programmed it in such a way. He convinced Billboard and what have you, and the music programmers and radio programmers to make sure that when she sings, when she puts out a hit, it stays, it becomes a number one hit.
Mhm.
And I mean, I understand where he's coming from too, because if it's somebody that you're heavily involved with, personally as well as professionally, you want the best for that particular individual. I get it. Okay. But my problem was not so much the song itself, it's the frequency with which the song is played. Because I'll give you a little example. This is where I have to veer off from advertising. When
Yeah.
I was working at another radio station back in the 90s, in the mid 1990s, that's when the song first came out. You played it once, and it was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then you had to take requests. And imagine having to work Christmas Day, 1995, for 8 hours straight. And every hour on the hour, you had to play that song, not once, but twice.
Wait.
After a while,
So
yeah,
like at 1 o'clock you play the song, and then at
yeah,
1:05 you play the song again, or
no,
is it that you played it
no,
somewhere in between the hour?
no, because you played it. No, because it happened in such a way that you played it once. You played it like you played it at 1 o'clock, and then you had to play it again at 1:30. You played it at
Ah.
2 o'clock, and you played it again at 2:30.
So it's every
And
half
that
hour you play the song,
right,
right?
and
Okay.
that drove me nuts. Which is why to this day, I suffer from what psychologists call conversion hysteria. A song or a word can trigger a kind of negative response that is just adverse to the whole thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, so back to the ad that you were talking about. There are certain ads that, you know, if done well, if an ad is done well, okay, let me give you an example. The Citizen Kane of radio ads that we have, a bumblebee tingnan ay for DK's Petroleum Jelly. That's a fantastic ad. I can hear that
How did
ad
that
over and
go?
over.
How did that go?
Okay, okay. It started off with this. Now, this ad, by the way, was written by a guy that doesn't get enough love and respect that he deserves, and that's Percy Parker Williams. And he voiced it too. So Percy Parker Williams wrote this ad back in 1987, and it starts off like this: Whoa, when it come to the top, a bumblebee thing in the eye. I mean, a bumblebee man is just stinging your eye. I was sitting down in the door and reading a comic book. Then all of a sudden, I had something going to a tomb. It's funny. It's genuinely
I
funny.
remember that. I remember that.
Not
I
necessarily.
remember that.
Not
They
necessarily.
did a TV of it too. Didn't they do a TV of it too?
No,
They did a
no, they just did
kind of animated thing. I remember something
kind of,
animated.
but it was nowhere
Wasn't
near
it?
as popular. It was nowhere near as popular as a bumblebee thing in the eye because it was just a fun ad. And every time, and this is the thing, people would call the radio station because back then we had only like about 4 radio stations. So they would call the radio station that aired it the most, which was I think I can mention the name of the station, 100 FM at the time. They would call 100 FM and say, "Hey, or you can play that Bumblebee ad, please, just play it, please." And they wanted to hear it. If you have an ad, and unfortunately that does not happen these days, but if you have an ad that is so memorable and is so funny and is
Yeah.
so irresistible, and you want to hear that ad again, you have a winner in your hands. You
Yeah.
have something that people just can't get enough of. Now
Yeah.
contrast the ad for the milk ad with another ad which centers on a particular hardware where you have a man and a woman talk about this particular hardware where you can get things like all sorts of stuff, hammers, saws, the basics. And they also sell. And then there's an ad where this woman is saying, "Well, you just have Gorilla Glue too," and the other woman says, "Well, if you use Gorilla Glue, it's no self, he can't leave you." So that to me is funny. It is not as because humor is subjective. It is nowhere near as funny as the ad I just mentioned, the Bumblebee ad.
Yeah.
But it has a kind of charm to it,
Yeah.
and it has a kind of down home folksiness to it that it was irresistible. That is what I'm talking about.
But
you see, again,
uh-huh.
no, but I'm saying if it is that the people want to hear it, let them hear it. But then there comes a time when if you're talking about the repetition of a particular thing, it can be grating on the nerves,
But that is me and Pennywise. The Pennywise jingle. Shop at Pennywise is an earworm that you can't get rid of, and they know it, and that's why, and that's how they still use it. That is almost 20 something, 30 years old, and they still use it. I remember at one point they had just used the music alone, and then one point they just used the singing alone without the music, and it's the same ad. So it was a very well done ad. But to come back to our milk brand ad, the thing about it is that it is not realistic. It is not connectable. It is just annoying, and it's annoying. So okay, it's memorable that you remember the ad for being so bad, right? Now, last season we talked with Tracy about an ad for refrigerators. I think they were fixing refrigerators. And that was a bad ad. It was totally bad. But it's forgettable because you can't even remember. You just know it's a fridge. You don't even remember the brand or whatever. This thing, you know that the brand is affordable and tasty. Okay.
Yeah.
But you have no desire to buy the brand.
No, you don't.
Because you've been assailed by it. You've literally been mugged by it. You've been beaten over the head by it. And it's not the repetition. The repetition is fine if, like Pennywise or like a DK's ad, it's something that you enjoy listening to. You see?
Right.
Now, there are people who enjoy listening to Mariah Carey, and they will listen to it forever, and they will not have a problem with it. I have an issue. I don't know if I'm trying to think if there's a song that if I listen to the song, I go, no, I can't listen to the song. There are songs that I can't listen to anymore because I played them out. You just can't,
Right.
Yeah, but the thing is that
Example, I can't play My Heart Will Go On. I can't.
That is one. That's one. Yes, definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
Because now I saw Titanic once, and that was enough for me. So, and the thing about it is, God bless James Horner wherever he is. James Horner, who composed the score, is a brilliant, brilliant man. God rest his soul in terms of composing music. But in almost every single scene, you heard those notes and you were like, "Da, da, 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 da." I'm like, no, enough. That's it. What are these people going to drown? Please. No. That kind of thing. I don't need it. I don't need that. I don't need that in my life. I don't.
Then,
So
yeah, but
yeah,
the thing is, James
yeah.
Cameron basically had a legendary fight with James Horner over music.
Oh, really?
And
He did? I wouldn't be
oh
surprised.
yeah, oh yeah, when he did Aliens, he fired him.
Yeah.
He fired him halfway through, and he started just getting. There was music that James Cameron just went and got somebody. He went and taped a marching band, and that's one of the songs that. Yeah, I mean, the point is to come back to the advertising, the production of an ad with with voices and so on, which is what we were talking
Yeah.
about in the beginning.
Yeah.
Is that you pick these voices because you want them to sound a certain way, but
Right.
they don't translate well to radio. So this woman shouting "price" is not. It sounds good in the road. You could
Yeah.
shout that in the road and be okay. I could fish market kind of understand that. But
Yeah.
this sound is supposed to be great in because they're like in a bank or grocery or whatever. But
Yeah.
the thing about it is that there's no this sledgehammer feeling of you're just being beaten over the head by this extremely what's the word you know
It's just harsh. It's harsh and
yeah
grating on the ears.
it's grating on the nerves, and you're like, I get the idea, I get the point, you don't need to keep doing it, but they keep doing it. Now
And
I
that is
wouldn't
not going to
mind.
make people.
I wouldn't have. Okay, so like they're in the library, right? And she starts going, "Price!" shouting at it. And the man says, "She's a library." Maybe they can't cut it out because of length, because it only has to be 30 seconds, right? So
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
they could have been like, "Price, affordable,"
Oh, nice.
or whatever, and
They could have.
you
It
kind
could
of
have been done in so many other ways.
it's
It could have been done in
contrast.
so
We
many
talked
other
to
ways. Yeah.
Anthony yesterday about contrast. We talked the week before about contrast when it comes to
Yeah.
visuals. There's
Yeah.
contrast in sound. And
Right.
sound people who know what they're doing say, okay, you can throw this very subtle sound off to the left and make it sound like it's over here on the left. Put a little
Mm-hmm.
echo on it so it sounds like it's in a little room, and put somebody over here on the right hand side. And this is the other thing, while we're grousing. The other thing about sound people in Trinidad when they come to doing parties and so on is like they're like, oh, volume up. There is no attempt to try to understand acoustics. They don't understand
No.
how a room works. They don't understand
No.
how an
No.
amphitheater
No.
works. They don't understand any of these things. They just know, okay, I have a mixing board and I have speakers and I have an amplifier. Boom. Right.
Yeah.
Shout, scream, do whatever you
There's
want.
no. There's no
There's no
nuance.
art to this. There's no
There's
art
no
to this
art to
anymore.
this. There's no tonality to this. Because let
Exactly.
me tell you something, if you were to do a radio ad abroad, and a Trinidad, and again, I'm sure there are those out there in this country who know what they're about, who know their stuff, and they know it well, and they do their work well. But the vast majority of them who are involved in sound production, they're going to go abroad, and you're going to try to do something like that, and then somebody who's experienced on the other side of the pond is going to look at you and say,
Mm.
"What kind of half-assed shit is this?
Yeah.
What the hell are you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
What the hell are you
Yeah.
doing?" Well, this is how I do it. This is the only way I know how to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you're doing crap.
But it's not
That's what
just
it doesn't
that.
mean.
It's okay. So I'm watching this sci-fi series on Apple TV.
Yeah,
Because I like the books. It's The Foundation by Isaac Asimov. I love the books. The TV
yeah,
series has nothing to do with it. But the
right.
book story, the story is that the empire is going to collapse in 1,000 years and then have 50,000 years of barbarism before it catches itself. And the idea of
Wow.
foundation is to limit the fall or to cushion the fall by
Yeah.
looking at the trends to kind of see if we could, create a system where the fall happens, but we pick back up afterwards. I don't want to get into that thing, but the fall starts with what I am seeing here, and it's very interesting because Isaac Asimov patterned it off of the fall of the Roman Empire, where
Oh,
you
okay.
reached a point in empire or in society or civilization where people have become complacent. This is how it's done. This is how we always do it. There's no need to
Right.
change it. This
Right.
works. Keep doing it. There's no innovation. There's no
Yeah.
attempt to try to
Precisely.
innovate. And in advertising, it has become a situation where we know this works. Two women shouting in a library, that will work.
Yeah.
You see? There's no
Yeah.
attempt to try to innovate and say, all right, well, let's try to do something with this idea. Let's try to build on
No,
this idea.
no, we've become lazy in the mind. We've become
Yeah.
lazy, and we've become quite pedestrian in how
Yeah.
we do particular things. No one
Yeah.
has ever had. No one has ever had like. Look, okay, so you're selling milk. Big deal. Everybody can do that. Anyone can
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
But find a way. Think of a way
Yeah.
that you can do it. That when you do it, if it can't be memorable, at least make it good. The
Yeah.
important thing, they say that good is the enemy of great.
Yeah.
Maybe it is, but I also say that if we're coming up with a product, and you want to make the product believable, and you want to make people want to purchase your product,
Yeah.
make the product interesting. Make
Yeah.
people want to purchase the product. This
Yeah.
ad, as far as I can tell, I've heard it a couple of times myself, but it is not going to make me want to go and purchase it. Now, maybe I'm not the target demographic. Perhaps that's it. I'm not the target demographic. Who knows? But I can tell you.
Well, I suppose. I mean, again, we always talk about,
Yeah.
is it for you?
Right.
Maybe this milk is not for you.
Maybe it's not for you. If I know, now here's the thing. If I look at another milk brand that says on the package itself, and it doesn't need any sort of advertising, and if it says 100% fresh cow's milk made right here in Trinidad and Tobago, if I see that, I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe the best things in life cost a little bit more, but it's worth it because you're supporting a dairy industry. One, two, the milk is supposed to be of superior quality. We'll take your word for it, and you buy it, and you're satisfied with yourself because you figure that you made a wise purchase. But that is for people we're talking about discerning consumers. But if you're taking this product itself, this other product, and you want to beat them over the head with it, then you're really not respecting the people who are buying it in the first place.
Yeah.
Because you're saying to them, well, hey, you know what, guys? We don't appreciate your ability to tell the difference. We just want to beat this over the head, and we figure,
we don't respect you enough.
We don't respect you enough.
We don't respect you enough to give you something that we think that you all will like.
We think that you guys would
like. We are telling you what you like.
Yeah.
You like shouting in the library. That's what we're going to give you.
That's what we're going to give you.
That is what probably ticked me off as much as anything else. That you don't respect the consumer enough to give them the benefit of
the doubt. Exactly. You have no sort of respect for the consumer. And that is just not, it's simply not right.
Okay, so the other thing we wanted to talk about, I think we've beaten that radio to death.
We've beaten that one to death.
I think the other thing we just wanted to talk about before we close off this session is what we talked about on Monday, which is because it's within the same vein of not doing things.
How did that happen though?
Well done.
How were they not able to think this through? But go on.
All right, so those of you who don't know, because nobody listened to us on Monday,
nobody.
our mobile network is using the predominant color of green as their color, and their competition is a predominant red color, which is also
Yeah.
a patriotic color for our country because it's red.
Yeah.
This particular brand shot a TVC for Christmas, a television commercial for Christmas. And before I get there, what I didn't mention on Monday is that the thing that started this whole thing was the fact that they've basically done this for 3 years. They have done the same ad. They just changed the background. They've changed the characters a little bit. They have the same guy playing another kind of character in a Christmas situation. And it's basically taking the story of Elf and trying to squeeze all the different ways they could do this for the next couple of years. And again, what works is what you will do. And it's not the agency's fault. I don't blame the agency.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame the agency.
I blame the client because I'm pretty sure the agency presented at least 3 ideas, and the client said, "Oh, we like this one," and which is the safe one, which is one that And I see people liking it and saying, "Oh yeah, this is funny, this is great," and then I realize these are all the same people who keep doing this all the time. So you are not actually getting new people. You are just massaging the same people that you've had before. So yes, you're keeping your clientele. Okay, great, whatever. You're making sure your client, but you're not growing. You're not expanding. You have plateaued. You have plateaued.
Yeah.
You've plateaued creatively. You've plateaued. I could say this because I'm not in the industry, and I could say this. I could tell whoever's listening to this. You go back and tell them. This is not because the competition is doing something, even though they keep doing the same thing every year. And I'm not saying, well, the Red Network doing something better. No, the Red Network not doing anything better. It just looks a little better. It's positioned a little better. But essentially, the two of them keep doing the same things.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to blame them either because unfortunately, until there is some sort of revolution in how mobile phones are sold. And this is one of the things I keep saying. My friend Maurice Burke wanted to know, as an aside, why banks don't, for Christmas, give out a gift card for people to give needy people, like an ATM card,
actually.
Right?
Yeah.
So your partner, he lose you work. He can't make ends meet. Look, give him this prepaid card and tell him when you go to the grocery, just get on the card, they will scan it and they will pay whatever money off of it or whatever. You could load it up like $100 or $500, whatever. I said to Maurice, in Africa, almost a decade ago, they started doing something called mobile money.
Wow.
Mobile money was you would top up your phone with money to use the phone, but you could also take that money and you could use it to buy things. You see? So the banks were in on it.
Brilliant, though.
It's brilliant. The banks and the telecoms will seem to have gotten something come together. I don't know what situation they are now, right now. I don't know how much bubble went on with that because it's not but there's at least there needs to be an idea in there somewhere where you can get away from giving out cash to people or using cash, and the telecom, whichever telecom comes up first and says, hey, you could take this phone, top it up, and you could go and buy groceries with it. And you give you a discount or whatever it is. You know what happened? You know when people run to that network? You know when people jump on that network?
Yes.
And the ad campaign doesn't have to say much more than my phone, all I have to do is just show this QR code, and the guy, the person scans it, and Massey or True Value, whoever, takes $200, and I can buy lunch or something. I mean, that is just, and you could send money from your phone. So I could send money to you, Jared. Jared, you could say, I need, if you're going to pay me for writing a radio, just send it to my phone so that I could go and whatever. And
there we go.
No fuss, no muss. But the banks and the telecoms and all of them, they're doing all their own thing. So F off to all you all. You know, the consumer don't matter. Right? Disrespect. The
Yeah.
disrespect. Anyway,
Yeah.
so to come back to the green and the red network and the
Green and red
plateaued
network.
ad campaigns, the
Yes.
green network shot an ad, right?
Hmm.
And the ad has Santa or this guy who's pretending to be Santa coming out of a car, and the car is
Red.
red. So people be like, you're listening, like, what the hell are they talking about? They don't took off this damn podcast. These people talking stupid. No, but the reason why is that brands own the color. You cannot put Coca-Cola in green. You can't
You
put
never
Pepsi
can.
in red.
You
You
can't.
can't put Pepsi in red. You cannot put this green network in red, and you cannot put the red network in green. But
Just doesn't compute.
either one can't use, if you use a red in their commercial, somebody's going to point out on it. And somebody did. They posted on Facebook, hey, Green Network, I love you, huh? But why are you coming out of a red car? Boom, that is it. That is it. Done. And then they use a hashtag, wish it. And I'm like, that's not a hashtag you should be using. You shouldn't be using the hashtag wish it.
Yeah, because
It sounds like, yeah. So
yeah, it doesn't sound right. So
yeah.
this is a classic example. This is a classic example of not thinking things through.
Or not even not
because-
thinking it through. Not somebody is not allowing the underling to say, hey, whoops, hold on, we can't do this. Because again, you're too negative. Oh
Mhm.
gosh, why are you saying that? That's not true. Don't come and bring your negativity here. Everything is positivity here. Okay, but all right. Then you just sit down and you wait for the shit to hit the fan. Now this isn't really a big bad example of doing it wrong. But
Yeah.
you don't really think things through. The hashtag thing is debatable. People be like, yeah, you're just nitpicking now. Yeah, maybe, but the thing is, and you could definitely disagree with us and say, they're talking rubbish and whatever.
Mhm.
But the thing is that it was pointed out to them that you got
Yeah.
out of a green car, you got out of a red car. So whose fault is that now? Now in our day, remember when we were talking for the in our day, we would have
Yes.
somebody like Errol Peru, wonderful Errol Peru,
Yes.
basically staring at you over his glasses and going, what the F wrong with you? You stupid or who tell you to do this stupid? Boy, get out of my face, sir. Don't come back in my office. You want to work in advertising? All you want to work in advertising?
If you would have to work at advertising, if you want to work at advertising, you have to develop an extremely thick hide.
Yeah.
You have to develop the hide of a rhinoceros because you are going to get it good and proper. That's a fact. You're going to be cussed. You're going to be told every kind of variation of curse words that you could imagine, and you'd probably be subjected to some curse words you've never heard before in your life.
Yeah.
So be prepared for that eventuality.
Yeah.
This is a tough profession, but it's a rewarding profession if you know what you're about.
Yeah.
You see, my problem.
There's a famous cartoon of the birds on the bird thing.
Yeah.
And the shit always goes down to the bottom. So if you're on the bottom, if you're starting out as a graphic artist or writer or whatever, prepare to be at the end of the shit flow.
Yeah, you are going to get the worst of it. You're going to get the worst of it.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And you have to deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're doing work and you're doing consistently good work, this is where you have that kind of street cred. Now you can tell people, hey, what I think is happening here, we shouldn't go ahead and do this. Or if it is that you have an idea and the idea is believable, it's solid, it's foolproof, and your creative director believes in it, you believe in it, and this doesn't happen very often. But then again, I wouldn't know. But in our day, we would fight for it.
Yeah.
We would fight for it. We would convince the client, hey, I hear what it is you're saying, but by the same token, this is something that we genuinely believe in.
Yeah.
So if you think that this is, listen, at the end of the day, it's your decision, but we
Yeah.
really do believe in this and we think this is going to work. And more often than not, once they see that you believe in what it is that you're selling, that you're about to sell to them, they will say, all right, let's go with it. Now, more often than not, that works. Sometimes it doesn't. Let's be real.
Yeah.
It's a real world we're talking about. But that kind of thing, that kind of, oh God, I hate to see it, but that kind of passion.
The word.
Yes, that word.
But that's not important right now.
But that's not important right now.
No, the top 5 listed, but that's not important right now. Words.
Yeah.
Passion.
Yeah.
What? Let's
Passion.
do Passion. What's the other one?
Doubles.
Doubles. What's the other
Yeah.
one? I'm trying to think.
Award-winning.
Award-winning, right? That's 3.
Passion, doubles, award-winning.
Need 2 more. We have 2 more.
Make the logo bigger. I don't know.
No, pop.
Pop!
You need to make it pop.
Make it pop. Right.
Make it pop.
Yeah.
There's another
Yeah.
one that our creative director used to say a lot other than passion.
Gosh.
There was another one. It was award-winning and passion. He used those 2 plenty, but there was another one. Be creative.
He used to say fantastic a lot too. He used to say fantastic a lot.
Fantastic. I mean, he used to say this is ship. So maybe we should do the 5th one is ship. This is ship. You presented me this ship. Go back and do it over. You know. So the top 5 words.
Yeah. Although I will say, I will say this, and in all fairness to him, I've never been told. He never told me that if I submitted something to him, he would look at it and say, "This is shit." I've never had that happen to me.
Yeah.
Never.
He never told me it was shit. What he said was, do you like this? Do you think that this is award-winning? Do you think that you should present this to the client? You really think you should present this to the client? Do you think really that this is worth presenting to the client? Go and do it over. And that would be the conversation, basically.
Wow.
That would be the conversation. You know? Not do it over, but go back and do something else. So come back again or whatever. You know?
Yeah.
Mind you, it was his ad. It was his idea.
Well.
You know?
Yeah. That's
sometimes he would go, nah, this is not what I visualized at all. You didn't listen to me. This is what I want. And he basically draw the same exact thing that I did.
Yeah.
He just, anyway, that's it. But that's not important right now. Right now. The five things that you catchphrases you hear in an agency. That's a good little thing. I think we've come to a little end of this particular session.
I think we have, yes.
I think we had a good session. So those of you who have stayed to the end, thank you very much.
Yes, we don't know why, but we thank you.
We are going to see if we could do a session next week, which is our second to last session.
Our penultimate session.
Oh my
for this
God,
year, for 2021.
Such big words.
Our penultimate.
We're gonna do one on awards because it is award season coming up. Award season is in December.
Really?
For Addies. Addies is December. You have to submit it before.
Really? So they're not announcing. They're announcing the Addy winners in December. Really? That's what
No,
they're
you
doing
have to submit in December.
Oh,
for
submit
January.
in December. Oh my
for
God.
January. Yeah.
Oh
that's always been the case. Beginning of December.
Oh, God.
You have to get everything done. Now, Triple ATT, usually their awards, when they had them, they usually had them in I think in July, August, around there.
They would have them in either July, August, or September, as far as I can recall.
But I haven't even heard about awards for Triple ATT. So we want to talk about that in next week's show. So we're probably going to bring back on our friend Damien, and maybe I'll bring on our other friend Kevin Gibbs, and maybe we could have another session. I
That
wanted
would
to
be
bring
cool.
I wanted to bring somebody on who would represent awards, but I haven't been able to find somebody who would do it, who would talk. They don't want to talk.
Wow.
It's not because they don't want to. It's not because they don't want to say anything. They're just they're very. There are people who are very shy, and a lot of the artists. That's why I don't get a lot of artists on because they're very shy.
Yeah.
They don't like to
Yeah.
talk, right?
Yeah.
But we'll see. We could do something. Maybe we'll just get Damien and we could talk about awards again, and we'll see. Maybe I could think of somebody else in the meantime. Maybe when the pressure's on. That's how it is in advertising. When the pressure's on, you start figuring out things. Great. And so yes, come back, subscribe every Monday, Wednesday mornings. The last week's episode comes out on this Wednesday. So that will be the one with Anthony. That is coming out this Wednesday. So take a listen to that. That will be episode 13. This is episode
Lucky
14.
episode 13, and this is episode
Yeah.
14. Okay, look at that.
Yeah, episode 13 turned out really well. It was a great episode. We got a lot of good feedback on
Well, this is good.
on the story.
This
So
is good.
that's good. For
Good.
17 listeners, we're still at 17 listeners. We were trying to get to 20 before the end of the year. Thank you for.
Hey,
for
17 listeners
Okay.
is better than 0 listeners. So yeah, we're good.
What we would like to do is all our 20 listeners, if you could send us your names, we'll list you out on the program and we'll give you a shout out. But I can only do that if you all identify yourselves. I don't know who the people are. So if you send me a message on Twitter, you send me an email and say, "Hey, I'm one of your listeners. I'm subscribed to you," on whether it's YouTube or on the podcast or whatever, we'll give you a shout out.
There we go.
Yeah. All right, Jared. Well, thanks a lot. We have to define what we're defining today. What are we defining?
What are we defining today? What exactly are we defining today? Gosh.
Price.
Price. What is Oh my goodness.
Oh, my ears, they bleed.
Yeah. Okay. What counts as a good radio ad? What's a good radio ad?
A good radio ad is one that sticks in your brain, is memorable. You remember the product, and you get a feeling to buy the product by the emotions that it gives you. So it gives you that feeling that you want to buy this product. You should buy this product. You have to buy this product. That's a good radio.
You must. That's a good radio.
That's a good radio. But that's not important.
But that's not important right now.
Right now. Thank you for listening. Have a good week.
De lucha libre. Esta noche de Madison Garden. El Río Norte de su área de Coga.
What? Yeah. Sorry.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Adios. Arrivederci. До свидания.
We'll see you all next week. Well, we'll talk to you all next week.
Yeah. Okay, guys. See you next week. Aloha.
Bye.
Bye.